I want to talk to you a little bit about your current book, Succession, but before I do that, I was really moved in many different ways by your previous book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Could you please tell us how that book is applicable to managers and leaders today?
Well, that book was inspired by Peter Drucker. I had the privilege of spending over 50 days with Peter Drucker before he died. I was on the board of the Peter Drucker Foundation for 10 years. Peter said we spend a lot of time teaching leaders what to do. We do not spend enough time teaching leaders what to stop. He said half of the leaders I meet do not need to learn what to do. They need to learn what to stop. And we discussed that, and really it inspired me to write a book that begins with teaching leaders what not to do, teaching leaders some important things to stop, and then how to change. And the other element of the book that's somewhat unique is I talk about the challenges and problems that come with success. Rather than being another book that interviews Jack Welch and says, why are you wonderful, it's a book that says, what are some of the challenges that come with success and how can we overcome these challenges?
Yes, and going through some of the bad habits, so to speak, that leaders have, here are some of my favorites, and you have 20 or 21 of them in the book, which was just an excellent read. The one I enjoyed and paid attention to even for myself was the bad habit of desiring to add my own 2 cents to every discussion. Another one was inability to praise and reward, which some of us we forget to do often. And another one was act of not listening. So why is this book important for even human beings on a daily basis?
Well, rather than answer that in theory, why don't I talk about the 3 specific topics that you brought up, and I'll give you some free coaching while we're on this interview. The first one, adding value. Adding value is a classic problem of smart people. Let's say I'm young, smart, enthusiastic. I report to you. I come to you with an idea. You think it's a great idea. Rather than saying great idea, a natural tendency is to say, that is a nice idea. Why don't you add this to it? The quality of the idea may go up 5%, but my commitment to its execution may now go down 50%. It's no longer my idea. It's very hard for smart, successful people not to constantly go through life pitching in, as you mentioned, our 2 cents to every conversation. And, by the way, you mentioned middle managers. As we become promoted more and more and more, this concept becomes more and more important. The more we have to make leadership not about us, but about them. One of the greatest leaders I ever met said achievement was all about me. Leadership is all about them. As a leader, it's very important to learn not to constantly add value and to recognize that effectiveness execution can be seen as a function of A, what is quality of the idea, times B, what is my commitment to make it work. We get so wrapped up sometimes trying to improve the quality a little bit, especially technically trained people, that we may damage the commitment a whole lot. And I guess a suggestion I would have is before adding too much value, stop and breathe. Look in that other person's eyes and ask a question. What is my comment going to do to their commitment? And if your comment is going to take away from their commitment, then breathe and ask yourself a second question, is it worth it? One of my good friends is a man named J.P. Garnier. He retired as CEO of a large drug company, GlaxoSmithKline. I asked him, what did you learn about leadership as a CEO? He said, I learned a hard lesson. My suggestions become orders. If they're smart, they're orders, and if they're stupid, they're orders. My suggestions become orders. Well, the problem with adding too much value is things that we don't even think are orders become orders as we get promoted. I asked JP, what did you learn from me when I was your coach? He said, you taught me one lesson and helped me be a better CEO and have a better life. Before I speak, stop and breathe and just ask one question. Is it worth it? And he said, as CEO of this big company, what did I determine? Am I right? Maybe. Is it worth it? No. So back to adding value. Before you start pitching in those 2 cents, breathe. Look at that person's eyes. Ask yourself, is it worth it? And sometimes you're going to say yes, and then sometimes no. On the second one, recognition, I'll give you a very, very simple suggestion. And again, the higher up you go, the more you need to make recognition not about you, but about them. List the people who impact your life, friends, family, direct reports, colleagues. Put it on a piece of paper and put it on a computer screen. Look at it twice a week. And then ask yourself a couple times every week, did anyone on this page or screen do anything I should recognize? If they did, send them an email, voicemail, a little note, say thank you. If they didn't, don't say anything. You don't want to be a hypocrite or a phony. One of my clients taught me this technique, and in giving recognition, he went from a 6 to a 94 percentile in 1 year. You don't have to do that much. You just need to do something. And the final one is listening. And again, I guess the deepest learning I've had as a coach is people's motivation for improvement has to come not from inside the coach. It's inside the person being coached. People's motivation for leadership doesn't really come so much from the leader as it comes from the people. And the more you can learn to listen to other people and make leadership about them, figure out what is their commitment, figure out what is their desire, their heart, their motivation, and make it less about yourself, you're probably going to be better off. In terms of my own coaching, the client I spent the least amount of time with was the client who improved the most. What did I learn? Coaching's not about me. It's about having great clients.